This is Fictional Problems, the podcast where we discuss all things writing, in association with Speculative Fiction Ireland. On this episode, we'll be discussing the benefits of failing to be your favourite writer. We'll be discussing success from failure, and how what you hate might inspire you, as well as rewriting a spin-off of a popular space opera. Join us.
And again, we return to fictional problems.
Fictional Problems.
With myself, Alan McNowan.
And myself, Gary Martin.
And we're actually going to continue on with where we were talking
Yes,
before.
too much meat on the bones, I believe it was described as.
Yes, too much. So we didn't want to leave anything out. So the last thing we were talking about was the size of the source material, whether it be kind of a standalone or series.
Yeah.
And just to kind of code off because each of those stories are built of the elements, and it could be anything from finding a particular character that you resonate with. Yeah, the characters, the themes, plus the decisions of world building. Perhaps you could say that the standalone may have less world building, but that's like saying something is less involved in my mind. That I would say that perhaps from my own perspective that the amount of world building I put into a project encourages me to write it into a series.
Right.
That it should, if I've put a lot of work into
near Tolkien level of work into your work.
I have my own.
How many languages have you written now?
How many what?
How many languages have you invented?
Just the 4. That once you put the effort in, then revisiting something, unless you hit it, unless it's all these stories are going to be personal, but unless it's of a particular note that you want this to encapsulate a moment of your own time, it being kind of a personal story, that it is that the fantastical elements are just there as furniture, as
window dressing,
absolutely, to the story that you want to tell. Unless it is a grander story, or you want to, whether it be you want to build something massive, or you just want to stay in this universe. There's nothing wrong with the I'm going to write next book because I really like these characters. And there's a few writers that I've encountered where there was one who was writing essentially their version of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Buffy the Vampire Slayer with a dog. They were doing novellas, and they were knocking them out every couple of months. There's a new one just being knocked out again and again and again, and they had an audience, and it was grand. They had found an audience, they'd found a flow, and they wanted to tell these stories, which is great. So that's, I guess, beyond the series and a series or solo inspiration. The one thing that I want to also address is, and I guess we're not going to mention what the word I'm looking for, fan fiction. We're not going to mention fan fiction again, but
your own brain was trying to stop you saying
exactly.
It was like no.
But it was also confused. It was also messing with a different word, failure. That the act of failing to do fan fiction. I see. I'm trying to be generous here. I'm trying to grow by failing to be the writer you want to be. And that, they say, if by me failing to be J. Michael Straczynski, I become my own person. There was a commencement address given by Conan O'Brien at Dartmouth, I think, a few years ago. It's very good. It's online. You can find it. And he said that the comedians of David Letterman's generation wanted to be Carson.
Yeah.
They wanted to be Johnny Carson. And by David Letterman failing to be Johnny Carson, he became David Letterman.
Yeah. And
by Conan O'Brien, Jay Leno, and the kind of other late night guys, by failing to be David Letterman, they became so the act of failure is something that we should encourage. or perhaps
inspired by failure.
Exactly, inspired by failure. Because it represents that you're bumping up against your boundaries, and that you are not completing the thing you want to complete. That's while completing something is absolutely a vital thing of, yes, I have managed to get to an end, but there is the act of failing to match someone's stuff. So whether it be you try and write a Harry Potter fanfic, and
there you go again, fanfic.
Yes, but that's my this is my point. By failing to answer, failing to match that voice, because you're aiming to write through someone else's voice, and by failing to do so, you end up with new characters.
Yeah,
you end up with new voices. You end up, as in not just new voices of characters, but your own voice. So I would say that to this is probably damning with faint praise, that, as you mentioned before, the idea of if someone comes to writing through fan fiction, it is by failing to be the person they want, or by failing to match the person they want, they find their own voice.
Yeah.
And that is a benefit, with the corollary being, if they succeed in doing so, if they succeed in being well in fan fiction, it is actually a detriment.
Yeah, and it's strange because like that aspect of failure in writing as well, it's very common. It's very prevalent. The idea of trying and not succeeding. I mean, it's something that probably any writer will relate to. The idea, but it's probably also one of the most useful things to draw on. At the same time, probably one of the more difficult things to inspire you is your own failure. Like people generally, I suppose it might be a test of the strength of the character of the writer as to whether that a particular failure makes them give up, or a particular failure makes them strive on. I mean, that's a human thing, really, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And it is a case that, and it depends on the kind of support you have around you.
Yeah,
I would say that I have, perhaps in a completely arrogant, egotistical way, I have plumbed on regardless.
Yeah,
I have
same here.
But I have not sought candidacy. I've not sought assistance. I've not sought. There, at no point in my past have I gone to people who I'd known to be influential and went, listen, pop this on Twitter.
Yeah.
It is. I think it would be up to them to make that decision. So they never thought it was a valid use of their time. So that's grand. So they're making decisions about how they value my work. And then I never wanted to be a case of everyone has to buy my work. Everyone, because I've seen far too many writers who they will write the first book. All the reviews will be 5 stars, and all of them will be around the same time, and all of them will be from the same country
and the same mother,
and they refer to him as nephew, son, etc. My son, no, sorry. And then there's never a second book. That it creates a false sense of success.
Sure. It's people doing what they can, though, to try and help someone that they care about in one regard. The author isn't necessarily responsible for all their cousins putting in 5-star reviews.
No, but it's never something.
Or maybe they are.
It's never something that I would encourage.
Yeah.
That if someone likes it, grand.
Honest reviews only.
Yes. Yeah. Unsolicited.
Yeah.
Like when I on the few writer groups I'm in, the people will pop on every now and then. So can we get a thing where everyone reviews everyone else's books? And the answer, thankfully, in the groups I'm in is feck off.
Yeah.
It's a artificiality to it that I don't like.
Let's all slap each other on the back and say, well done, good job, keep going.
Yeah. Like
that's a therapy group, not a writer's group.
Yeah.
Maybe you need both. the thing.
that we respectively need therapy. That's for
It's like there's a business model right there. It's writers group / therapy group for those writers who happen to be in the writer group.
Yeah, all on chaise longue couches set out around the room. It is and then it is a how you deal with that failure in identifying it as your own work. That I think is from at least from this question, from this perspective of, can you take essentially almost inspiration from your own failure? That actually, the reason why I mentioned this is that we reconnected at a housewarming party for Raoul and Raoul's girlfriend, who I think probably maybe she's wife at this point.
No names. We don't need names. It's fine.
But I'll remember her name in a second. I'll probably remember her name when I'm driving home, because she do art. And I remember when I was walking to the door, she showed me one of her pencil drawn pieces that was framed on the wall, and she went, "Identify that person." And I go, "I can't see it. I can't see it." And I can't remember who she identified as, but I was like, "But that person is not who you intended to be, but it is a person. You succeeded in representing
someone."
Someone. But whether we say it was meant to be an aged Marilyn Monroe, for example, but it was still a lovely old woman. That you can say there was a failure in that the objective of the task wasn't succeeded. That's the failure category. But you still produced art. You still produced something that someone goes, I can see
there's still value in it, still worthwhile trying.
And well, that's up to the observer. You can still see that, whether it be the sweet smile of this person. Oh, that's nice. That someone who survived Monroe's life rather than who died. So in the act of failure of achieving one goal, you succeed in something else. Now, and to one of your points earlier on, if you aimed to create a series, and you end up with a book and you go, this doesn't go anywhere. Is that a failure, or is this going to be a good standalone?
Oh, yeah.
How much work does it require to actually to file away the edges and kind of go, no, okay, this is going to be a standalone? What
just cut all that foreshadowing for the third book that isn't going to happen now.
Some foreshadowing, leave some for it as a dangling thread of what could happen in the future. So that would be kind of that kind of failure block. The other point, as another one, would be, and a bit more meat on this bones, what I hate.
What do you hate, Al?
No, what I hate is a source of great inspiration to me. And I hate a lot. I would follow Sturgeon's law of 90% of all media shit.
How about they're trying? Come on, give them that. No.
Most of the time, I don't think they're even trying anymore. There's one TV show, I won't go into details about it, but I was looking forward to it, and it's just okay. They're not even, I don't think the writers are putting any effort. You can see the actors through these
phoning it in.
Thin. No. You see the actors through the thin veneer of the characters.
Okay.
If you've seen the actor before in another thing, all you're seeing is the actor again.
Okay.
There's no, and that could be a directorial thing rather than a writer thing. But I've watched 2 episodes of it and it's okay. But I was going, really, there's so much lacking in it that and maybe because I was actually, part of me was looking forward to it, I allowed myself to look forward to something. But that's for another time. The things that I dislike, as we mentioned before, the idea of, or as I mentioned before, the idea of, I come to a point in a story and the story goes left and I go right, or vice versa. I now have a new story. That can be born of hate. That just the really, it's like, why the fuck did this person decide to do this in this way?
Does that would you say it's bringing in a required level of negativity to the writing, as in it's giving it that kind of visceral feeling? The thing you hate is inspiring what you're writing. Does that writing then have that same energy? Does it have that kind of revulsion? Not revulsion when you're rereading it, but as in you're portraying that hatred?
No.
or is it just you're lifting it out of the hatred realm and using it in a different way?
I would say that, it is a completely arrogant way of saying it, because you're saying you're taking something that has been successful or successful enough to get the cinema, get on TV, get published. That and my critique of it is it's terrible, or it is so very, very weak that I find that the story nub, like let's take Nth Degree again, for example. Let's say Nth Degree was a terrible episode. It's not. I love it. But let's say the rest of the episode was the episode around the idea of this guy becoming the central processor of a computer system was just terrible. That nub, however, by stripping out everything else and going, okay, that's what I want.
Yeah.
That itself doesn't become a burning piece of hate that I need to kind of apply in that way. It becomes it could be a part, it could be the heart of, or it could be a part of, as in a one of many parts of another story, another system, that where that inspiration maybe glows bright, because I'm going, I'm gonna fucking write this better than fucking.
Well, that's kind of where I was going. Is it a case of you're looking at something and go, why did they write that? Why didn't they write it this way? I can write it that way, but in my own thing. And it's like, that's so when you're saying like it's hatred, it's nowhere near like an emotional inspiration. It's an intellectual inspiration. Like you're leaving feelings at the door.
Well, yeah, because once it gets cleared from the package, essentially, once the packaging material, which was the bad application, gets resolved. I'll give you an example. The TV show Obi-Wan, the Star Wars TV show Obi-Wan, that I thought was fundamentally terrible. And anyone listening to this will go, "Oh, you're fucking racist because of this, this, and this." Let me continue. I beg your moments continue. As I looked directly into the microphone.
Yeah, it's not a camera, it's a microphone.
Yes, hello microphone. So I would rewrite it. So the story in that is Moses Eisley played the main character Reva, but actually, she was playing the main character. Obi-Wan wasn't the main character of that story. It was the story was about her. At the start of the story, she knew who Darth Vader was. She knew he was Anakin Skywalker. She knew that he killed the Padawans, and she knew that. So she had all the information loaded in her character at the very start.
Yeah,
there was no development for her to move on. There was no steps for her to take other than, I'm going to then move up in the inquisitorial order to get close to Vader to kill him. That was essentially her plan. There was a movie called, I think, Hero, which I think was a Jet Li movie, where something similar happened. It's not a
take them down from the inside.
It's essentially so. What happened in
The Departed? No, just.
No, yes, but yes, in the part of they under in a similar way, but I guess in the Jet Li movie, he is there to kill the Emperor, and he essentially tells stories in this big auditorium, this big throne room. He tells stories about how he killed the enemies of the Emperor, and every step he gets closer to the Emperor. The story's then divided at that point, doesn't they? They go different. Also gave octaval fights. These he did all of the people.
He's Lita Pally, so
Orange Man. So by the time that Reva gets to Vader, there's no development there. She's knows everything, and that's it. And Obi-Wan is running around with Leia doing his thing. It's question marks. What I would do with the same story, as it's kind of inspiring and rewriting, is essentially call the show Inquisitors, have a focus on the inquisitorial order, have grey ones, dark ones, has in full plethora of different types, how they interact with people, how they are basically political animals dealing with one another, and have Reva being a true believer. And over the course of the narrative,
loses her faith.
No, she loses her faith by gaining knowledge.
Yeah,
that she's having dreams. Like, say, one of the other Inquisitors gets into her head and allows for a a forced spell to cast and brings back her memories, and she sees herself being stabbed through the stomach by a lightsaber that apparently would kill people anymore.
Yeah, brush that off, walk it off.
Yeah, you did it. Happened to do it twice.
All the blood around the wound boiled.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you have more than one stomach, don't you? So while she is hunting down these Jedi, while she is doing the thing that because she's doing the thing that she hates Vader for doing, which is killing Jedi. So she's becoming the person, and she's actually being the person she hates, or that she ultimately hate. Going, hang on, you killed. She discovers. I say they later on they see Vader having taken an injury. Part of his face mask gets knocked off or gets cut off, and she sees him for who he is. And in that moment, she realizes there's like a 10 episode out of 12 episode going, where am I? She now has gone through a full arc of where it's about her story, her journey, and it is treating her and giving Moses Eisley, who is a wonderful actress, meat to function with. And that's taking inspiration from a really bad show, I think. And while it's happening, you have a character in the background who occasionally does a force push here, a force push there, force push
here, there, everywhere,
causing things to happen. And this is Obi-Wan. But he only appears in 2 or 3 episodes. He's
relegated to the sidekick in your own show.
Well, in this case, it would be relegated to the quest giver, force manipulator in his own show. Yeah. He wouldn't even be a sidekick. It would be the guy who played the fake Jedi would still be the sidekick, because the person that Reva can go to engage with it. And so she can't engage with a true Jedi, but she can engage with this person who knows about the underground. So, and you end up with this. What you do end up with is a new character. Because that's one thing that the kind of Star Wars situation, or Star Wars Star Wars franchise is lacking at the moment.
Who do you follow?
Who can you then bring back next thing?
Yeah,
Mandalorian. That's it. Maybe Bo-Katan, but she's become the head of her own show. So, there is question marks about. I would love a situation where you had Mark Hamill's, you have a movie or a TV show where Mark Hamill's Luke Skywalker walks in to a ancient temple, like a King Arthur round table type idea, where he walks to one seat, puts his lightsaber down, whichever lightsaber that is. Again, could be throw your nostalgia in if you want about which lightsaber he's putting down. Ahsoka Tano comes in, puts hers down, and Reva comes in and puts again what lightsaber she puts down, because she will probably have lost her red lightsaber, and now she built her own one. So. But these are the new teachers of the next generation of Jedi. You should be talking about building individual episodes or series. All these series coming out from Star Wars tend to be pocket off. This is what they do. That's it. And anything that we don't like in those, we're going to change for the next thing. The more development happens between series or between movies than actually happen inside the thing. So this would be a little bit of a diatribe, but the idea of taking the inspiration from something that I revile, and then even building within the story itself, rejigging around and going this, because I could have, instead of saying let's take Reva's character and do it that way, I could build a single shot book where you have a jackboot thugs and painted orange to represent their leader, who are going around capturing, killing, deporting people of a certain type or class.
Yeah.
And I could take inspiration, it's that same information, and I could build up that the protagonist is someone who has always felt this way, and then suddenly realizes that no, their parents were that they had been stolen from as a child, were leaders in the counterculture, were leaders in the rebellion. And as I'm saying this, it's not not a wholly unique story.
Yeah, we've seen that story before,
but it's still a story.
Yeah,
it's still a A to B to C to D. There is a path there, rather than the story which is just this person exists, they're perfect. This person exists, they're perfect. This person exists, they're slightly injured. This person exists, they're perfect.
Yeah, so like the way they seem to be writing these shows is like just clockwork wind up toys. They're just twisted and let off to wander around and whack into each other or not, or
Yeah.
and the strings don't seem to have been tightly pulled in order to direct them properly.
Especially since you have people that are meant to be these gurus who are crafting a unified story. I don't see a crafted unified story. And I think it's maybe, I honestly can't think of it of how that they knit all these together in the same way that Chris Carter couldn't knit all of the disparate stories for X-Files together.
Yeah.
In the trial episodes where he honestly tried to bring together, well, these are the different types of, these are the face aliens, these are the grey aliens, these are the goo aliens, this is all different, these are the ancient aliens, this is
what are you doing?
This really doesn't, I can understand what you're trying to, these are the kids who are born from different types of aliens. It's
too much.
So I can't see a way of them bringing it all together. So other than them cutting it off and doing a whole reboot of it, which I don't think at this point they can. I think they've effectively destroyed a franchise. But
are we still talking Star Wars here?
Could be on many ones.
Yeah.
But to bring it back to the idea of that, these things should inspire, and these things have inspired in the past.
Yeah. They're culturally relevant at some point. The likes of Star Wars or Lord of the Rings they're just so significant.
Yes, and indeed the idea of taking the inspiration and going away from it. Like I just gave an example of taking inspiration and staying within it, but that was just to to showcase how brilliant I am. But the idea of whatever that inspiration is, that you've watched this movie, you read this book, you watched this TV show, there is something you want to say, there is a thing you want to do that is beyond simply
a story you want to tell.
Yes, that it is. These are the things that the inspiration is the inspiration is the firing gun.
Yeah.
And that firing gun, whether it be kind of that, I know there's many stories that I've written where I can, when I get to the final, when I actually write and it's over, that I can't see where that inspiration was, but it got me to the page. It got me tip tapping away, and that is also, I think that the idea of the inspiration doesn't have to be the full meat on the bones. Just as we've used as a touchstone, the idea of the nth degree supercomputer thing.
Yeah,
you could end that. You could finish your first draft and then go, actually, I don't need Barclay at all.
Yeah,
that stripping out Barclay, suddenly the crew is enough. That crew is that you've written a crew that was in one way beholden to the supercomputer that wasn't required.
Oh, and twist ending at the end. It's happening in other ships. That's the discovery right at the end. No, as in the same type of thing is happening.
Oh, sorry, no, yes,
across the galaxy.
No, yes, but sorry, that would be a different path. As my thought
just threw in a twist there, just out of the blue.
Oh, sure, and what I was suggesting was the idea that that didn't exist at all.
Yeah,
that you don't need that at all as part of your story. To yours is that the bee sting effect has happened other places, so you end up with these like singularity moments of these things coming out.
That's series baiting right there.
That is, yes, but
it completely is. Like the last episode of the season, and you're like, oh my god, this thing that we've been following, it's happening everywhere.
Yeah, or they
much bigger problem.
They roll in and suddenly find this massive starship in front of them and go, oh, by the way, this happens to have not one but a chain of these
of the same things you guys have. Yeah.
We instead of being independent of one another, we 6 of these linked together brought in other ships, built basically became a massive superstructure, like a Dyson sphere.
Right there at the dun dun dun. Yeah. And that's where we leave that particular section. We'll come back
in a mo.
Thank you for listening to Fictional Problems, Episode 2, Part 2, in association with Speculative Fiction Ireland. In the next part of this episode, we'll be discussing how we're inspired by tabletop role-playing games. We'll be making character sheets for some of our characters. We'll be considering the weight of the books. We're going to take a trip back to TTRPGs. And finally, a brief discussion on representation and interaction with magic systems in fiction. Join us.